All right, welcome everybody. Welcome, welcome. We're just going to wait a minute here before we get started. It is a beautiful, not too sunny day in LA. We had a heat wave come through, so we're appreciating the cool. So while we're waiting for a few people to get here, welcome. My name is Jamie Wozni. I'm a light activation guide and mentor. Try to scoot this down a little. I am here to serve light workers, sensitive souls, divine beings to really come home to those of us who are ready to feel seen and heard and really shine on this planet. And so my job is to serve you in going through that path and illuminating that path to how can I shine and be my full magnificence and also feel completely safe and embraced in love while doing so. Because I think one of our greatest fears is, well, I'm going to be all of me. I'm going to be my full self. And when I am my full self, I won't be loved. I won't be accepted. I'll be rejected. I won't be taken lovingly into the tribe. Because when we're young, we grow up in a innocently, emotionally unintelligent world. And so we aren't given all of the tools that we need to feel totally accepted and loved and appreciated and valued as this sensitive light being in the tribe. So it's so confusing. The journey is, you don't see many people like us out there. And then we get a little bit lost because we think, well, something's wrong with me. And that's our defense mechanism, right? Our defense mechanism when we're young, welcome to those of you that are just getting here. Our defense mechanism when we're young is when we don't see others that look like us, act like us, have the same needs and sensitivities as a light worker has, we immediately shut that down to survive. We immediately shut that down to survive. And so our job and our journey here in this space is, how can I see that I'm an adult and what are the tools that I need, or what are the universal truths that I need to remember to come back home to feeling safe, opening again, right? Because we close when we're little out of safety, protection. And my job here is to show you bit by bit how to feel safe again, opening, being you, shining. Our mind is going to tell us it's the scariest thing in the world. And that's how we override it. We have to, what we resist persists. So we have to tell our mind, okay, well, what are you most afraid of? And this might sound crazy. I'm afraid of abandonment. I'm afraid of rejection. I'm afraid of being unloved. Well, we say to ourselves, okay, I'm willing to risk it all for you then, because it's not going to happen. That's how we override the resistance. I am afraid to be rejected. Okay, then I'm risking rejection, risking abandonment. I'm risking everybody being jealous of me because I'm shining. In order to, a lot of teachers talk about, well, what's your why? In order to have your why, in order to have your life of full magnificence, being a gift on the planet, being abundant, having everything I want, So welcome. We're going to keep today short, and there's so much that I've learned over my 10 years as a spiritual guide. And I think one of the things that has served me the best, God, there's so many things, but this has been a theme and a through line, is self-love. And that topic is so elusive and there's so much about it. And so, while I can't encompass all of what I sense that means in this live, I want to come to a section of it. And I also have a course. It's on my website. It's under jamiewozni.com/services. At the bottom is a course I did with the famous Insight Timer app called Profound Healing Through Self-Love. And so if you need a little bit more exploration in self-love, super affordable, and that one's there in case you need it, in case this calls to you. So when we're little, and this is what we have to look at this through the eyes of compassion and innocence, because I believe If the people that we grew up around could have done better, knew to do better, they would have done better. They were handed certain things, and that's the lens they were looking through. And so they gave you the best that they could, even if it wasn't awesome. But what happens is, if you are not given the ideal love that you need in every way, shape, or form, and I'm sure even if you're a parent, or whenever one day I maybe decide to become a parent, you make mistakes, you're human, right? But if you're given ideal love, like someone sees you, hears you, is present with you, values you, listens to your opinion, respects you, gets to know who you are, what your likes and your dreams are, like gives you all of this, sets healthy boundaries for you, teaches you to cherish yourself, cherishes you so you feel worthy and deserving of being cherished. If you're given all of that, you have a mirror. So what we're supposed to do as we age is, okay, the caregivers in all ways, shapes, or forms, we're not totally putting all this responsibility on mom and dad, but the caregivers in all their forms around us mirror back to me what I am worthy and deserving of. Oh, mom gave me her attention. Mom got to know my interests. Mom listens to me. Mom is okay with my emotions. Oh, so then we learn this. Oh, that's how I care for myself, because we're meant to be taught by the elders of the tread. And then one day when we age, we're meant to not have to rely on them anymore or get this source of love from them. We are meant to break away and start to give it to ourselves. But if we're not taught that when we're little, and it kind of seems silly because when we bring this into our conscious awareness, we're like, oh, and it can create some shame sometimes because we're like, why couldn't I see that before? But we weren't given that. So our unconscious mind that's running the show can't see that. So as we age, we just believe the level of care that I received from everyone around me is what I'm worthy and deserving of. We don't stop to realize that as a child of God, as a child of the universe, we are worthy and deserving of great love. And I'm going to tell you this sentence that has been a mantra that's changed my life. Here you go. Just because I didn't receive it doesn't mean I'm not worthy of it. Just because I didn't receive presence, attention, interest in, boundaries, love, care, support, nurturance, comfort, provision, stability, doesn't mean I'm not worthy and deserving of it. We can look at, and you say, what does that even mean? I didn't get that. So, but your mind is going to find proof of what it believes. It's the job of the mind to keep you safe. It's a computer program that goes, I can't make the sound, but like that's the computer program looking through all your records of what you received in your life, and then what it believes that, oh, they received that, they're worthy and deserving of that. So God bless our hearts. It's like we have all these big dreams and all this stuff that we want. And then we're like, why are we always sabotaging ourselves? Because I want to do this stuff and then I find a way to not do this stuff. It's just because it doesn't match the frequency we were taught. So we have to learn how to expand beyond that. So just because I didn't, and this is the first step, we're bringing it into our conscious awareness, just because I didn't receive it doesn't mean I'm not worthy of it. And where I was just about to go is, let's look at what's true, what's natural. So animals, babies, nature. You can't tell me you've never seen a baby, this innocent baby, these videos on Instagram or YouTube or wherever we see these videos. The pure innocence of that child is worthy of your holding and love. And if you're a loving being, you naturally know that and you feel that. They don't have to be perfect or good or talented or polite or following the rules for mommy to hold, to love, to let it know it's safe, to feed it food. It just exists to be fed, to be provided for, to be loved, to be cared. All of us that have animals or see animals out in the wild, right? These animals, this is big. These animals, these zebras in Africa that are being cared for as best as they can by life, by the earth, aren't trying to prove themselves to the sun to get warmth, aren't trying to prove themselves to the, land that they're on to be able to be fed food. By default, they are worth it. They are deserving of it. Life, as I've been taught and I see now, is an equal opportunity employer. It just depends on the frequency. If we believe we're worthy and deserving of something because of the mirrors we've been given, we may have to take inspired action. We may have to work towards it. We may have to create it in our lives, but we're worth it. We can receive it. We can have it. It's huge. So we look at animals, we look at babies, we look at nature. The rose doesn't have to overcompensate or prove itself to get the mitochondria that it needs, the photosynthesis, it doesn't need to do all of that, it just gets it. And again, that doesn't say we're all going to sit on our couch and get everything that we want. It's this beautiful symbiotic doing and receiving that we experience in our lives. But this is huge. So this is hard because I remember I had the hardest time loving myself because I used to think, well, God, I get the short end of the stick. So just because you didn't, now I have to do this responsibility. And so it used to piss me off because I hadn't healed that yet. But remember, the children that got all the great love in the world perfectly, which again, I don't know if that exists, but as best as their parents and their caregivers could, and the children that didn't, there comes a time when they all must branch off and give it to themselves. So the children that got the great love, they're branching off still and giving it to themselves. They just understand it more. They go, oh, well, this was given to me, so I'm worthy and deserving of giving it to myself. So at the end of the day, mom and dad, even though they might still be, let's say, quote unquote, giving it to them when they're older, their source isn't mom and dad anymore. That's a very unstable source to be getting it from. And then if mom and dad leaves or mom and dad's moody or mom and dad passes away, then they don't realize that this lives inside of them. So no matter what, whether we didn't get it or we did get it, there comes a time when the responsibility is within ourselves. And so, yeah, maybe it's a little bit easier for those that got it to access it, but they're still accessing it inside of themselves. So for those of us that didn't have that perfect example of caregivers being super emotionally available for us and present for us and caring for us in the way that we needed, all of that wisdom of how to care for ourselves lives inside. That self-love, it's innate. It's here. It's here. It's just some of us had a mirror to know to look for it a little bit easier than others. So to know, okay, if I didn't have this mirror, it doesn't mean all is lost. It doesn't mean I'm damaged. It doesn't mean anything. It's just I might have to heal the pain. I might have to sit with the pain, meet the pain of what it felt like to not have it so that that can move through me. I have other videos on that. Whatever arises, we welcome beyond judgment. We allow it to be here to move through us. And maybe we need to tend to our wounds of that. And to realize, and this took me lots of years, just because I didn't receive it doesn't mean I'm not worthy of it. And so whose responsibility is it to give it to you now? Not my responsibility to give it to you. It's Jamie Wozzny's responsibility to love you. And while I love you, it is your responsibility to give it to yourself. All about responsibility. And you do not get the short end of the stick because how the quantum field of the universe works is pretty fantastic. Everything I give to myself, I then receive in the external world. So, because we're all one big mirror. So this is the clue, and this is the exercise you can do, the journaling you can do. What am I waiting, because you're trying to get it probably from mom or dad or grandpa or your caregivers or your sisters or whoever was around you when you were young, or your school system or your church or whatever it was that was the authority figure. Let me take a minute, let me journal, let me sit down for 15 minutes, half an hour, and look, what am I craving from the world? What do you repeatedly say to yourself? Mine was support. Can someone just please support me? I want to be provided for and supported, and I don't feel cared for and supported. What are you looking for constantly? And you can see this in your relationships. Come at this with so much compassion too. What am I like secretly in my head wishing my husband would do, or my wife would do, or my parents would do? Write it all down. What am I seeking from life? What am I, quote unquote, lacking and desperately seeking? It's a hard time seeing it inside of ourselves because of our wounds, and we don't remember. We don't think we're worthy of it. So we think, well, I got to get it out there. And we're trying to recreate whoever gave us past this wound down innocently and still try to get it. So we attract someone who can't give it to us because we think, well, I really want them to give it to me. And we keep trying until one day we have this spiritual awakening, or hopefully you're coming out of inspiration of like, oh, self love seems great. I want to learn about it. But either way, it's our responsibility to give it to us, to give it to ourselves. I wish my person out there, my friends, would include me more or listen to me more or um, nurture me more or whatever it is. I'm just thinking of some words that you might get to the bottom of. Well, it's always you looking for you. And that might seem intellectual at first because I realized this support thing a long time ago, but I'm like, I do support myself. I don't understand that. But here we are as sensitive beings and light workers and divinely gifted souls, right? And so for me, because I am so sensitive, my self, my self love, my inner self was asking for me to be so attuned to when I was left of center. And I thought, wow, that's really high maintenance. Who does that? Who stops every minute that there's something off internally? Because I didn't have that from someone growing up in my life where my needs were that attuned to. So I thought, well, that's too much. That's frivolous. That's extravagant, sitting there and giving myself that much. So I was still looking for support and still looking for support because I'm thinking, well, I'm financially stable and I take care of myself and I meditate and I go out into nature and I spend time with my friends. But it was on a whole nother level. So if you can really get quiet and say, what am I craving in the world? And can I start to give it to myself? And can I do the work that I need to do to clear, whether it's tapping, right? EFT, or welcoming the feelings, or Reiki, or I always say pray. Okay, so great. Now we see, oh God, trying to seek this in the world. I meant to have it. I didn't think I was worthy and deserving of it. So I'm not giving it to myself. It's the only reason. It's there. It's waiting for you to give it to yourself. So you pray, okay, I see this now. I see it with compassion. What's my healing modality to heal this wound, to let me know that I'm worthy and deserving of it? And this, just bringing it into your conscious awareness enough, might be like, whoa, okay, I can start to take action steps towards whatever I was doing to give my power away, because nobody's going to come to save us. That's what our unconscious mind says. Well, if I keep playing this game out, someone's going to come to save me, and it's us. It's the divinity within us. It's our higher self that's there to save us. And it can seem so painful. And you know what's underneath of that? We don't want to feel the pain of not getting that when we were younger. So we keep searching and keep searching and keep searching because we're like, I don't want to feel the heartbreak that I didn't get that. But if we can welcome those deeper feelings that are icky, knowing they're temporary and they'll move through us, and I can handle the heartache of having to admit that that was what happened to me. Oh, wow, ouch. We have to give up. We have to give up and stop looking, because we have to admit to that was what occurred. That was the painful experience. And I need to tend to myself in whatever way I need to tend to myself to tend to that wound and to let that energy release, so that I can know that it's okay at the end of the day just to feel those feelings and then offer myself what I need. Because whatever is lacking in your world, right? Because we're one big mirror in the quantum field, is just what we're not giving to ourselves. And would we start, I had this insight today too, when you show up for you, then the world can show up for you. Because we think, I'm not getting everything that I want. And then we're pissed and we're resentful, but it's here. So the medicine, I call it, of self-love is everything. And we can use life as a mirror, not to be a victim to it, but to be empowered as to, I didn't think I was worthy of this love because I didn't have this mirror. But guess what? Newsflash, as the animal, as the rose, as the baby, I've always been worthy and deserving of this love. I just grew up. Here's the truth. This is what you should have known when you were 3, but you didn't. I was always worthy and deserving of this love. I just grew up around people who didn't know how to give it, period. I didn't do anything wrong. The animal didn't do anything wrong. The baby didn't do anything wrong. I didn't have to prove myself or overcompensate or hide to get the love. And now I'm realizing that as an adult. I have to tend to the wounds and release the feelings that I felt and open up to this is innate in me, this divine guidance of how to nurture myself and care for myself and support myself. Because guess what? I'm going to take it back to the beginning before we finish. Remember, I said I used to think I would get the short end of the stick if I loved myself. You can't get the short end of the stick. Because when you start caring for yourself in that way, because of the quantum field of the universe, like attracts like, we're in a frequency universe, you start attracting people that can match that frequency, that can care for you the way you're caring for yourself, that can support you the way you're already supporting yourself, that can love you the way you're already loving for yourself, that can listen to you the way you're already listening to yourself. And people that are already in your life will start shifting around you positively or gently and easily shift out because you start to realize, oh my God, I was worthy and deserving of this all along. I just didn't know it. And you start giving it to yourself. You're not alone. You're not like, oh, now I'm giving this to myself and I have to endure others not loving me. No, the more you love yourself, the more the universe reflects back to you how much you love yourself. And love is in all these different ways that I'm saying: care, provision, support, listening to, whatever it is. So I really invite you to sit with this. I invite you to take some time now, whenever you can, to meditate, to journal, to look, to get real curious about what's going on in there. What is life reflecting back to you? Sitting with your little self, telling it you're sorry. I'm so sorry. I've been trying to get this outside and you've been asking me to give this to me all along. I didn't know, I couldn't see. And I'm open to the healing that is required. So if this sparked something in you and you do want to take another step further, just a reminder that course of mine, it's at jamiewozni.com/services. Profound Healing Through Self-Love. It's my course on Insight Timer, and it takes you through 11 audio lessons to really go deeper into self-love. I can also support you. I only see 8 clients, private clients at a time. That's all I have time for. But if this is something you're like, oh my God, I don't know how to do this, and I want to actualize my soul gifts, and I want to carry myself through, and I want to feel safe having everything that I want, and the self-love things resonate with me, jamiewozni.com/services. You can look at the mentoring section in there. It's the first button and it says book an exploration call, and we can go further with that. My third suggestion for you, if this resonated with you and you want to hang out in person and you want to gift yourself a day of self-love, I have a Manifesting Miracles retreat on May 22nd. So a little bit over a month and 10 days from now in Ojai, California. So you can come in for the weekend. It's just a one-day retreat, but if you want to book a hotel room for yourself, you're welcome to do so. All the information's on the website, jamiewozni.com/retreats. It's going to be a day of divine intervention, of really going inside. What is between me and everything I want? How can I release this? How can I clear this? How can I actually start to hear my own heart, know that I'm worthy and deserving, and create a life that I want? So I'm going to stop living to get love, living for approval, living to be good and appropriate, and start actually making a difference in my life and on earth, because I'm going to start to live authentically. And how can we manifest those miracles in our life? So if that calls to you, I'm capping it at 17 spots, jamiewozni.com/retreats. If you have any questions, feel free to comment, let me know. I'm here for you. Any suggestions of videos that you want me to do, I'm here, I'm open ears, I'm here to support, and I'm sending you all lots of love, and I hope you enjoyed today. I will see you soon. Bye.